I once heard someone say, if God is not Alpha in your life and in your plans, then He won't be Omega. You can't finish planning everything and then bring it to God for Him to bless it. Him being shepherd means you have to be sheep. You have to be led. And aren't we just blessed to have such a shepherd who's not only responsible, but who loves and defends us fiercely? Compliment of the season, dearly beloved. I am Jem the Beloved, and as always, it is my pleasure being with you. Last week, we introduced this series, The Lord is My Shepherd, and we're reviewing a great book titled Understanding Divine Direction by God's Servant Bishop David Oyedepo. I sincerely hope you downloaded and you've read the book. Today is the last Wednesday of 2023. Wow. And that means that the next time we meet will already be in the new year. So if you ask me, doing this series at this time, at this point in time, means we are on the right track, and it's exactly what we need. Hit on the subscribe button if you are yet to subscribe to this channel, and also turn on the notification bell. Now, without further ado, let us get into the book. So, doing a quick recap from last week, the central point of the introduction is that we all as humans are very limited, even in our best mental state, hence the dire need for divine direction. But before we get into all of that, we need to go back to the beginning. So chapter 1 deals with the reality, reminds us of the reality of divine plan. God is a God of plan and purpose. We've dealt a lot about purpose, so you can go to the channel if you're yet to watch it and just click on that playlist to watch. But I'll quote the author when he says, God has a set race for you to run here on earth. The choice of the particular race before you is, however, not yours to make. It is one you must discover. He continued, to be ignorant of your place in God's plan can lead to a life of toiling and frustration. This is because God has made you for where you will shine. After knowing about this, the reality of divine plan, we're to move forward to discover the particular plan that God has for you. And he treats this in chapter 2. I'll quote, God has a place prepared for you in life. A discovery of that place is what is called vision. So until you make the discovery and walk in it, you cannot arrive at the glorious destiny that God has prepared for you. He also said, wherever God has mapped out for you in destiny is a high calling. It made me realize that it is my responsibility to get the details of the plan or the vision for my life directly from heaven at every stage that I get to. Because vision is unfolded in phases. God really shows us everything about His plan at once. Now we get to chapter 3. And this is the crux of the matter. It deals with the question, what is direction? So where vision is the unfolding of God's master plan, direction is the steps you are to take in order to accomplish it. It is not enough to know that you're called to preach. That is the vision. How are you going to go about it? Now, that is where you need direction. This is worthy of quote. Listen. At every point you get to, you need God to tell you what next to do, where to turn, and what to focus on. If you miss His direction, you have really missed the joy of living. He said, when kings lose direction, they become servants. Now, Christ has made us kings and priests unto our God, and we shall reign in the earth. But we need His direction in order to maintain our priesthood and our kingship. And that's just me commenting. Let's continue. He said, though vision is what sets the pace for direction, direction is what makes vision a reality. In other words, the subject of vision is just as crucial as the subject of direction. Now, How do we get this direction? How do we get this direction? It is through instructions. Hear what he said. God is an orderly God. So no matter how hard you try, whatever God has not commanded can never, not will not, but can never come to pass. He said the world will only hear those who hear from God. The difference between success and failure is light and not luck. I repeat for emphasis. The difference between success and failure is light, not luck. Dearly beloved, I'll have to plead with you to please download this book and read it. Read it once, read it twice, and then read some more. Because these summaries and these quotes I'm giving do not really do justice to it. So do me 3 favors right now. First, hit on the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. Download the book, and lastly, read, and read it again. And there are a few things for you to know about direction. The first is that direction is the birthright of every believer. It is your heritage from God. Hear what the author says. The moment you give your life to Christ, you are entitled to God's guidance. He commits himself to leading you in the way to go. What a shepherd. No more going by trial and error or walking in guesses. It is God's will, to grant you direction at every stage of your life. Now, until I read this, I used to think, I don't want to bother God with all the small things that concerns me, just the big stuff, the important stuff. Then I'll figure my way out, to dealing with the smaller stuff. What a sad joke. Listen to this. Everything about you is his business. You are his business. So, and he's concerned about you. You are not bothering him. Burn it in your heart. You are not bothering him. Isn't it such a relief to know that God is willing to hear any and everything that concerns you? It is a relief. So let him hear it. Another thing is, knowing that divine direction is your birthright is not enough. You have to get matured. You have to become a son so that you can understand his leadings. Only sons are led. Listen to this. The realization of God's ultimate plan and purpose for you depends on your maturity. Until you develop into sonship, the dominion God has reserved for you will never materialize. This means that you go when he says go, because you know he has gone ahead of you to make the crooked paths straight. And you stay in the place of your last instruction until you hear from him again. I do need some maturing. I really need to mature. God help me. God help us. Another thing to know is that you must be willing to be led. That is your part. You must be willing to be led. You must be committed to being led by God. So say to yourself, Jem, you must be willing to be led. Call your name. You must be willing to be led. This is because there are things that you may want to do that are not in line with his thoughts for you. You must seek direction, You must seek to know what his thoughts for you are, because your security is in God and not in yourself. You have to get the clearing, the okay from God, okay? I know it's hard and it hurts our pride to be that dependent on God. But you know what I've learned? I have learned that true independence is in being led. I'd rather be humble and receive grace than to be proud and be resisted by God. Not only be resisted by God, but to be outside of his will and to waste the time I have left here on earth. So why not just, be humble and be led? Chapter 4 is about locating God's direction. How do we get this direction? We said getting instruction. So how do we get instructions? Number 1, the word of God. That's obvious, isn't it? said, the word of God directs you on how to go about your job or any assignment committed into your hands. And then he said something really profound. He said, even if you never get to hear any voice from heaven telling you what to do, you can still receive direction through the word of God, because that's how God speaks to you. That's on the word of God. The first way we receive instructions. The second way we receive instructions is through the voice of the Spirit, also called the witness of the Spirit. Thank God for the word of God, but also thank God for the voice of the Spirit. Listen to this. The voice of the Spirit gives definite instructions for directions. The Spirit witnesses to you by impressing something on your spirit. The author says, the voice of the Spirit is a great asset for triumph in life and ministry, isn't it? And it is the clearest form of direction, as all that the word does is to authenticate that direction. So I'm going to close with this. He said something that really struck me. He said, the reason we have a master is because we can be wrong. So even if you're a sincere person, you can still be sincerely wrong. So you need a master. You need a shepherd that is infallible. Yes, you need to be led. Dearly beloved, I thought we could finish this book today, but it seems we're going to have to continue with this next time in my next video next year. Get it? Thank you so much for watching this video, and please download this book and read it so you can get the full gist of it. Okay, this quotes, they do not do much justice. That book is powerful and loaded. I love you. Thank you if you loved this video and found it helpful. Hit on the like button, yes, and also turn on the notification bell. I will be seeing you next week. I wish you the best of the season. I really wish you the best of the season. And until next time, remember, Jesus is King. You are his beloved. Happy New Year in advance. Bye.